Sometimes compared to places such as Monza, Aragon without its backstretch chicane will force drivers to be as quick in a straight line as they can be. But anyone who's raced in this series knows that traffic can still make or break you no matter where you go. So it's not as simple as being quick. Let's see who wins on Spanish soil as we get ready to watch round 9 of the IMSA Vintage series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and joining me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Daniel Costello, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beer. Aragon is one of the newer tracks here on iRacing, so let's take a closer look at it with our track guide. Welcome to Motorland Aragon. About an hour and a half west of the Mediterranean coast, this scenic but dusty course is a more recent addition to the Spanish motorsports landscape. Built to replace a dangerous street circuit in the nearby town, it's become a hub of modern racing for the country. Motorcycles are its most famous draw, but it does see sports cars and lower-level open-wheelers visit frequently. Plus, its warm climate makes it ideal for winter testing. Its 7 layouts range between 1.5 to just over 3 miles with 12 to 18 turns. Its most iconic feature is no doubt the towering wall between turns 7 and 13 that accentuate the dramatic elevation changes. However, the difficult Sacacorchos chicane easily has the greatest drop over the shortest period. Reminiscent of Laguna Seca's corkscrew, this right-left flick leads onto a pretty long acceleration zone, even in the GP layout, so it'll be important to get that exit right. Expect most passes into turn 1 are down at the hairpin of 16. But for those who haven't gotten enough of high-speed sweepers, the motorcycle and outer layouts include one final blast uphill and into a tricky late apex. Technical and picturesque, Aragon offers up a little bit of everything and is a versatile facility. It's easy to see why it was quickly embraced by both Spanish fans and race fans worldwide. We've seen this track raced before, but it still gives us an inkling of what's to come based on our previous experience, and that is that long straight's going to make life very interesting, Adam.
Absolutely, Joe. Motorland Aragon is one of the newest additions to iRacing, and thus is a challenge simply due to its lack of familiarity. Even with the drivers tackling the 3.06 mile or 4.92 kilometer 14-turn outer layout today. And believe it or not, I think the Audis are actually the most comfortable here, with that first sector being a dash of tight flowing turns that allow you to lean on the tires a bit too much if you're not careful, but lends itself to a really good flow if you get it right. The Nissans may struggle here if they try and take too much out of the first sector and get too aggressive on the curves, with the elevation changes and slower medium speed corners making a feather touch on the throttle absolutely necessary. Multiclass around here, much like the outer layout, is a story of two halves. The first sector being a nightmare of switchbacks, leading to the classic impatient GTP dive bombs and overly cautious GTO non-committal driving if they're not careful. But once you hit that back straight, the 3-lane road makes everything, including overtaking, easy, but the Nissans will still want to be ahead of the Audis coming into the final turn. If anything, this track, with the series running on it, rewards a patient and careful drive, and I look forward to seeing what kind of action we see here today, Joe.
Same. I think we're going to see plenty of overtakes down the backstretch, but we'll see who can break that slipstream. And consistency over the course of the season is always going to be a talking point, but this season, especially in the championship, sees a bit of an unlikely face up there. Fabian Jungbluth, who's gone from back-of-the-pack driver in older seasons to now challenging for the championship, has been incredibly consistent compared to Cortese, Mustonen, Hovdal, all these other drivers. But Andreas Valenteus every once in a while shows up to try and compete, even though he's also racing in the GTOs, and he's here today, so that could steal some valuable points away from Jungbluth. As you can see, because it has been a little bit topsy-turvy, it's still extremely tight. Despite that 14-point difference, there is still only about 20 more points from second down to 10th. So drivers will have to try and perform in these final 4 races. That's just the GTPs, though. The GTOs are a bit different.
Yeah, a completely different story. But with Yuka Leskala taking a goose egg last round, he definitely dropped that round, which allowed him to stay on top of the points. But Andres Valenteus, challenging in the GTOs this season, has been putting a good fight to him. Noah Lundberg's been more consistently showing up, but still only third because he can't seem to get that maiden win that he's been looking for. Mickey Friesen is still just about 15 points back of Lundberg, and then it's that tight fight between himself, Doug Cloud, Ian Haycox, and Andreas Schuster for that third position. Cam Porter has been unfortunately relegated to the second split most of this season, but still up there in the top 10 at 62 points over Escaleta and Josh Brain. I'll be really interested to see whether or not Yuko can maintain his consistency that he's had the rest of the season to win this season out.
For today's race, we have a pretty standard format, as it's only going to be another 40-minute sprint. But as we mentioned, including today, there's only 4 rounds left. Open setups in this series, you have to imagine a lot of drivers are going to be trying to get as quick as they can in a straight line. No spare car. Now, it shouldn't be as too much of a problem as long as you don't hit one another, because you have plenty of runoff in a lot of places around this track. Drive-through penalty will be at 17 incidents and a DQ at 25. Considering the paved runoff, that's probably a bigger concern for many of the drivers than getting damage out there today. And as we take a look at some of the qualifying, Tuomas Mustonen currently holds the provisional pole, and Valenteus only managed to put himself 4th on his first lap.
Yeah, absolutely. The second lap is going to be where it's at, though, with tires being very cold. They're going to have dropped the tire pressures down for qualifying to try and get them to heat up as quickly as possible around this track. But it's a real challenge. Yuka Leskala, to no one's surprise, taking provisional pole position in the GTOs right now. And yeah, Valenteus still on his second lap. He has an opportunity to pit Mustonen, but he's going to have to make half a second up. That's a lot of time, Joe.
Yeah, that's pretty significant there at this stage, but watching Valenteus, as we also see Leskala finish his final lap. Valenteus is just crossing the timing line himself, and a 21.9 means he's not going to take pole. Leskala hit a 35.8, so he goes even quicker by a couple tenths. Lundberg still needs to make up the time. No, actually, Lundberg has set both of his laps, so he's done with this one. As there we once again get to see Leskala's onboard camera, but he's definitely having some fun here, swinging the car around.
Yeah, absolutely. Cam Porter still on his second lap up here. It's a single split race today, so we have quite a few drivers here. Somewhere in the realm of 50. We'll get the final count once we get to the grid. But Mark Torres Exposito trying to set a better qualifying time than 20th himself. He just gets pipped by Javier Mascara, who goes up to 20th. Javier Mascara not having a good qualifying today. Here we see Torres Esposito come around the corner trying to beat a 23.4 and is going to do a 22.9, so that jumps him up to 15th on the standings.
Yep, just the last few coming across here. They don't have to go, or they don't have to hurry out that much, since even for the Audis, it's about a minute 40.
Yeah, absolutely. Only, even those 3 miles around here, that long back straight really makes the time disappear. But we see Michael J. Taylor coming around. Still a minute 30 left on the clock. So even drivers who just started their second laps, or their first laps 10 seconds ago, still have plenty of time. So even though Michael J. Taylor is just exiting the first sector now, he gets very wide coming down the hill onto that back straight. So that's going to be a challenge, is trying to maintain speed through those sectors. It's really easy to try and to think that you're going to get a little bit more speed than you want and just dive it into those corners, but unfortunately that pushes you out wide and takes away your exit speed, and exit speed is what you need coming onto this back straight. So Michael J. Taylor trying to make up for that, but the car can only go so fast at this point. So and also I don't even believe he's on a flying lap right now. So he's on his first lap, but I'm registering at 4 minutes. So we'll see whether or not he sets the time when he crosses the line, just exiting the final corner. Can Michael J. Taylor set a qualifying time with 30 seconds left? Go. Crosses the line. It registers as a 4:15, and yeah, he's not going to have enough time to do a second one. So unfortunately, he's not going to qualify.
Yeah, that one got deleted. So he must have had an incident on his first lap, and that's why he had to try and circle back around. Lowry puts down a 40 flat, a 140 flat, but that's only going to put himself last of those who have set a time in the GTO category as we watch Bayon take the last few seconds to try and warm up. Our grid is essentially set here, and a few surprises up at the top, not dramatic, but Mustonen held on to that pole position over Valenteus in the end in the GTPs, with Alexander Van de Sant starting from third, and Laust Olsen, look at that, fourth in qualifying today. He looks quick. Timothy Reed will start from P5. Farron Grau will be 6th, and Aitor Sintes Galindo. Excellent qualifying for him. Not usually a strong suit, but he'll start 7th. Fabian Jungbluth, our championship points leader, will start from P8. Aaron Humphrey will be 9th. And rounding out to the top 10, it is Brendan Lim. On the next slide, you've got Dylan Freckleton starting in 11th. Dustin Heroder will be 12th, and Javier Del Olmo will start in 13th. Seamus Power, P14, is then got Mark Torres Esposito to the inside of the next row, with Shady Ahmad starting to the outside. Aaron Barta will be 17th, and Roman Bilo in 18th. Victor Chamorro will start 19th today. Big field out there. Martin Krajcik all the way down in 20th, as Javier Mascara starts 21st. And it's Fabian Jaraszewski in 22nd, as Xavier Baca starts 23rd, and Ian Philip Johnson 24th. Still got a couple more out here, as Matthew Cockerham starts 25th, Alex Calvo Marti 26th, and Paul Ferrer 27th. And the last few cars did not set times: Josh Lowe, Lance Simon, and Michael Taylor.
And then we get to the GTOs with Yuko Leskala on pole position. Noah Lundberg starting off next to him. Mickey Friesen lines up behind Leskala, with Andreas Sliamba lining up behind Lundberg. Row 3 goes to Arturas Kundalis and Doug Cloud, with row 4 JD Rodriguez and Andreas Schuster. Rounding out your top 10 is Josh Brain in 9th and Gregorio Buscemi in 10th position. Jorham Van Hixie is going to start off row 6 next to Cam Porter in 12th. Sam Skovsgaard in 13th position, with 14th going to Thorben Pollock. Starting off 15th is Audrey Huguet, and then we got Jamie Himmel-Smith in 16th position. Marcos Bayon in 17th, and Andrew Lowry in 18th spot. The first of your drivers to not set a qualifying time, and this one's a surprise, is Ian Haycox, with Hector Cordero Suarez rounding out your 20 Audis here, 30 Nissans, for a full grid of around 50.
Yeah, I checked, and it looks like Ian had a deleted first lap. I'm guessing either he had an accident that one or the next one. As you'd tend to expect here at this Spanish track, it's a little bit warm on the surface, 93 Fahrenheit, with a bit of wind as well, just to complicate things.
Just a bit of wind. 13 miles an hour is pretty hefty. Now, doesn't look like it's wavering that much, so that looks like that's going to be the consistent wind up there. 13, now we just got 12, so doesn't look like there's many gusts out here today. Humidity's very low. 25% humidity means that it's a very dry track out there, which actually may make it harder for the tires to find grip, but they'll definitely heat up quickly, so that's a benefit. I'd expect the tires to be fully heated by around the start of the third lap.
And this is going to be perhaps one of the trickier corners here. This is Sasha Corchos, which is quite the chicane, almost comparable to the corkscrew, but not as big of a drop-off in elevation, but still it does run down pretty steeply. And, of course, one of the most important exits here, because this takes you out to the backstretch.
Yeah, absolutely. So once they hit the backstretch, then it's just a long, long straight. This is where we're going to see most of our passing happen today, especially in the Audis with the big box that they are. So I would be surprised to see that many drivers pulling away from one another unless we get mistakes coming through the first sector.
All right, well, we'll have to watch and see. And here you can see the last of that long, long left-hander leading on to the backstretch. Got to watch those Audis towards the end of the race when the grip goes off, because that's going to be a wild ride through there. They have a lot of grunt underneath them, and they're going to be going at full tilt. So they'll probably need the entire track to be able to take that one at flat to the floor, if they could even do that by the end. But as they work their way eventually down to the end. It is not to the hairpin. Remember, this ends at turn 14 there, and it is a long left-hander that goes uphill in a sweeping turn. So it won't be the heavy braking that you tend to expect, although they will definitely need to get onto the binders. And there you can see the Audis doing a little bit of weaving to warm the tires.
Yeah, absolutely. The Audi is being very cautious right now, trying to make sure the tires are warm. It's this long straightaway for this pace lap makes it so the tires feel very cold when you get going. And that very sharp first left-hander as turn 1, this could be a big risky start of this venture, Joe.
Here we go. Pace car getting ready to peel in. Mustonen has control of the field, and he gets a good jump. Green flag is out as we head down into the first corner. Tight left-hander, 90 degrees into here. Who is going to be able to stay clean through this one as they bunch together? A little bit of contact at the back of the field. Otherwise, everybody's still pointed forward.
Yeah, absolutely. The GTP starting off well. The GTO's just going into turn 1 now. It's side by side for 4th position between Mickey Friesen and Andreas Slumbia. They were actually in the middle of the final turn when they started this race. Looks like 20th position in the GTPs is off. That's Martin Krajcik, who's just trying to rejoin. Rejoins in front of the pack, but thinks better of it and pulls off to the side. Lots of drivers using that paved outside runoff as they start to go into the sharper sections of the track.
Yeah, it was a bit of contact, unfortunately, that spun Martin off the circuit as we come back to our GTPs down into Sasha Korchos. And coming out onto the backstretch, Mustonen still leads Valenteus. His good jump off the start seems to have done the trick for him, as the one is going to have to try and reel him in. And we got a car off. That is Ian Phillip Johnson, slow out of the chicane.
Absolutely, he's going to pull right on before our leaders in the GTOs, Jukka Leskala and Noah Lundberg. They pulled away. Arturas Gundelis actually spins himself coming onto the second half of the track. So unfortunately, he's parked up sideways, and he's going to have to get going once again. So tough break for him. He's now full on toward the back of the pack, and he stalled the car. So it's going to be a long day for Arturas Gundelis.
Meanwhile, in the
Joshua Lowe, sorry, a huge wreck just happened at the GTPs. Joshua Lowe spinning around backwards. Unfortunately, he's going to be out of the race now.
So a lot of drivers experiencing problems here at the start of this one. Seamus Power, though, has been trying his darndest to see if he can get by Esposito. No dice quite yet. He's trying to keep up with Dylan Freckleton just in front of him before he scampers away too far because they're pulling a bit of a gap.
Absolutely, Xavier Bach is going into the pits as well as Martin Krajcik, so both drivers really struggling to start with this one, but here we see the battle for that lead. Noah Lundberg's been doing a good job of hanging on to Jukka Leskala at the beginning of these races, but he can't seem to get the pass done, and then he starts to fall off towards the back of the pack, unfortunately. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he can hang on to Jukka Leskala for the whole day today.
Sticking with him, at least for now. We got a replay from that first lap, so let's take a look to see what went down for Josh Lowe, since you mentioned he had quite a big accident. I'm guessing maybe some miscommunication. He goes off to the side. Holy cow, that was a massive hit.
It's an interesting place to decide to pass on the AstroTurf on the outside of the course. Not necessarily the best route to continuing to your race, especially here we go with Mark Torres trying to get around the outside of Seamus Power. Seamus really trying to hold it on to the inside, but loses the traction just a little bit there. It's going to fall foul of himself and Dustin Heroder, so Seamus Power falling backwards now.
Nice pass by Heroder down into the first turn, gets it done cleanly. That's going to move him up into 14th. Esposito not out of the woods, though. Still has Dustin close behind him, and Seamus, no doubt, will be hungry to try and take that position back over the number 9 car. We're just on lap 3. This is very early days. This is in front of them. Esposito goes a little wide.
Absolutely. It's going to put pressure on Esposito with Seamus Power trying to battle him back, and Dustin Heroder as well. It's 4 wide. It's 2 wide, 2 deep here as they finally stretch out as they go into the downhill section of the track onto the back straight. This is probably the hardest turn on the track to keep right. Look, you can see just as they drive off of those rumbling curves, they come around this corner, and you can see just how much the downforce is affecting the cars behind Dustin. That's Mark Torres Esposito, who couldn't get a good exit. He's now under threat from Seamus Power.
Power's going to pull off to the right-hand side. Let's hope this goes a little bit more smoothly with some track left between them. There you can see him just weaving off, making sure to leave a car's length. In fact, he's got a nice toe up from the likes of Rotor as they go 3 wide into the long left-hander, and the one that comes out the best is Seamus Power.
That was really impressive move from Seamus Power. There's a little bit of contact between Rotor and Esposito, and Esposito spins it.
Oh,
and
no.
Did he collect the inside wall?
He did.
Oh, no.
He didn't hit it hard, but he had no place to go. The car was on a trajectory, and he had to slam the brakes to keep from absolutely pummeling the pit entry barrier.
One interesting thing I've been watching at the front of this Audi pack is that Noah Lundberg's had a couple of opportunities with the toe to try and pass Jukka Leskola, but he's decided not to do it. He's actually decided to stay in line with Jukka Leskola and try and pull away from Andreas Sliumba, but that's not working out for him. He's now got Andreas Sliumba breathing down his neck as we watch this battle between Mickey Fries and Cam Porter, Thorin Palak. Actually, this is between JD Rodriguez, Andreas Schuster, and Doug Cloud for 4th position. Doug leading that pack.
Yep, Doug's got the track advantage over them, but as we've seen, it looks like that slipstream's mighty powerful. Wonder if some drivers are trying to just play nice in these early stages, thinking there's no use trying to fight because that'll just bring ever more cars into the fray.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is the best time to get your passes done because you don't know what traffic's going to give you, especially around here in a new track. I would take the opportunities now, but it doesn't seem like Noah Lundberg has the same thought because we know how strong Yuko's race pace is. He seems to get better towards the end of a race. I'd try and be ahead now and try and play the defensive game and keep Jukka Leskola behind. But with such a long straight, can he even do that? I mean, it's a toss-up as to what strategy you pick.
Yeah, and you're right about Sliumba just kind of hanging on to the back there as you can see him holding on. Sounds like we've got a replay, though, in the meantime. With another incident that went down there, going around the outside. Beautiful stuff there from Power, but just too much of that curb on the exit. And yeah, he had just thought he had gotten control of it when it went into the barrier.
Yeah, what's funny is that if he actually wouldn't have had that opposite lock-in, he probably would have just been fine to just go straight to the pits and keep going. But here's Martin Kraytrick. What a horror day he's had. He unfortunately has had to come to the pits for repairs already. Still in the back of this pack. He's ahead of Xavier Baca and Josh Lowe, who both are in the pits for full-on repairs, but he's mired in the Audis right now in 28th position.
Yeah, he's going to need some of that traffic to help him as JD Rodriguez has been in the wars, damage all over the car, and he's drifting his way out of the final turn.
Yeah, that damage on the right front's going to affect him. He's going to have lost drive in the right front. These are 4-wheel drive Audi GTOs, and he's going to have lost drive in that right front tire, which is going to make left-hand turns especially challenging for him because he's going to be dragging all of the mechanical linkage out there to try and keep going. So unfortunately, he's going to be slow on the straights too because that front end damage is going to affect his aerodynamics.
And with a mustache that would make Nigel Mansell proud, let's see if he can pass a few of these cars to get onto the podium. Right now, he's holding back Andreas Schuster and behind them. And you can see Kraytrick. Remember, he's not giving them blue flags right now because he's racing them for position technically. So they need to be heads up. And then Martin needs to know that they may not be aware that he's coming.
Absolutely. There we see just how close it can get right there. I got a report Dylan Freckleton's gone around in the GTPs. This one looks like it was caused just by himself going a little bit quick. So a self-spin for Freckleton. As we continue to watch, here is Ian Haycox, and he's trying to make his recovery drive from starting at the back of the pack, already up to 11th position, Joe.
I mean, just amazing stuff out of him. That he's gained, let's see, 8 positions, it looks like, since the start of this race. But he is still a ways off of Leskola. I don't think he's going to be challenging for the win as we often see him do these days, but maybe getting into the top 5.
Absolutely. Taking a look at the lead of this race, they've got Martin Kraytrick snaking their way through. Noel Lundberg still trying to gain on Andres Sliumba, actually gaining on him, trying to make a nice battle around that first turn. I can report back in the back of the pack, JD Rodriguez, just a couple of positions behind this, has made it past Doug Cloud into 4th position. So even with that damage, trying to claw his way forward. And our leaders of the GTPs are now up to our leaders in the GTOs.
Indeed. So about to try and overtake them. And you can see Valenteus trying to tiptoe his way by as he chases Mustonen. Still about half a second between them. I said it at the start, and I'll always say it here in the IMSA Vintage series. Traffic management is just as important of a skill as speed.
Absolutely. Here comes Mustonen in past second place. That was Noah Lundberg, a late dive for Mustonen to try and get by, and he'll be able to make it by Yuko fairly easily if he's patient. He gets bottled up. He doesn't realize he's supposed to go around the outside there with the downforce. You got to take that outside line because the Audis aren't going to give you any room. This could be a pass for the lead here with Valenteus.
Andreas is not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. He's going to try and go for it as he now pulls alongside. He's got more momentum, and he's slightly ahead of the number 5, but he's not fully past him, and he's going to be around the outside of the Finnish driver. What's going to happen when they swing into the final turn? It looks like Tuomas will hold him off. So Andreas got a taste of it, but he couldn't get it done.
Yeah, Andreas out in the gray. That was a good side draft from Mustonen to keep Valenteus in tow, just upsetting the airflow on the rear, the whole thing's a wing, but the rear part of the wing for Valenteus to keep him towed in. That was a great job. There's a nice battle going on for 10th position as well. We're looking at it now with Javier Del Olmo trying to challenge for this 10th spot. Aaron Humphrey, Dustin Hiroder, Javier Del Olmo, and Seamus Power all duking it out here through the mid-pack of the GTOs.
Oh, Humphrey had a huge save right there in the midst of traffic on top of things, and look at that, boxed in, no place to go. Del Olmo has to slam the brakes.
Oh, what a pick from Seamus Power to just pick out Javier Del Olmo, stick him right behind Gregorio Buscemi. Now they're making their way past Andreas Schuster. That's going to be up to the battle for 4th position between JD Rodriguez and Doug Cloud. JD Power's a company, and Brendan Lim and Dustin Hiroder snaking their way past Doug and making him drop back from JD. Oh, contact there! That's going to send around JD into the wall hard.
And Freckleton as well on screen is who we were watching. JD, unfortunately, adding to the damage on his machine now. It is, and as he comes back on, Ian Haycox, unfortunately, he wasn't even in the seat.
I think he unplugged his machine. I think that was a really hard reboot.
Well, unfortunately,
that redefines the rage quit.
Yeah, well, he didn't hold the brake though, and he drifted right back onto the track in front of Ian. So that's not going to make him many friends, unfortunately.
Timothy Reed trying to make his way past Farron Grau. Farron trying to do the over-under as Timothy Reed took it too deep into turn 1. But unfortunately for Farron, Timothy Reed's going to hold on to that position and snake his way forward. So move Timothy Reed up to 3rd spot. We know how quick he is on low downforce tracks, but this first sector ain't exactly low downforce. But look at this. Farron Grau going a touch wide is going to bring Laust Olsen into play. But here we go with Andreas Sluba trying to make a move on he's gotten past Noah Lundberg, and now he's challenging Jukka Leskala.
Man, 1, 2, 3 all together, nose to tail as a bit of lap traffic tries to go through. Also another Nissan off course. That's Del Olmo. Not sure what happened to him in his fight just recently, but more of our Nissans now splitting up this battle. Not just Chamorro, who was trying to get through, but Romain Bello is looking on the left-hand side. Are they going to try and split them, or are they going to have to wait patiently?
And this is exactly what I talked about. Noah Lundberg now in 3rd position, and he's misshifted, unfortunately, and now he's lost all opportunity for the lead. This is why I wanted Noah to try and get the lead from Jukka Leskala, because you don't know what traffic's going to do to you, but usually they tend to respect the leader. They don't respect the people behind him.
Slumba still with it, so Leskala is not completely out of the woods here. He's got another challenger coming up behind him as we see Mickey Friesen farther back, chasing on Gregorio Buscemi. This is heading up into the final turn down the back straight. As you can see, the cars trying to pick extreme sides to give as much room as they can to their rivals. And Buscemi is going to cut back across to the racing line at the end of the straight to open it up, but he's too hot.
Yeah, he takes it too deep, and Friesen's going to try and pass on the inside. Buscemi really squeezing Friesen here, and here comes Mark Torres Exposito. He's going to be able to get through, but my goodness, Friesen, he got, oh my goodness, that's almost a brake check into turn 1. And he blew his engine.
Oh,
Buscemi
no.
money shifted into turn 1.
Just a little bit too distracted by all the excitement. He ends his race prematurely. Mickey carries on, and he'll get to inherit the spot.
Absolutely. Up the lead of the GTOs, Sliamba has replaced Noah Lundberg to try and stay in contention with Jukka Leskala, just trying to stay on his rear wing. He's going to have to make a pass soon to try and get past Leska and force Leska into a pressure position. But here comes Cockrum up the inside. That's going to take away the line from Sliumba and take away his exit as well. Sliumba jams on the power with that four-wheel drive Audi and slides in front of Cockrum to keep his line. What a move.
Oh, but he wants to drift out to the outside. That slows up Matthew and means Paul Ferrer will get the spot from him as you see them blast by. And that did separate our top two just a bit. I think the draft should bring in that number 21 once again. By the way, we haven't mentioned that. Sliumba with the number 21 and racing second in class.
Absolutely. I rating doesn't mean much if you're quick
Whoa.
on track. Oh, my goodness.
Who is that in the background?
I have not been able to see it.
I think that was Shady Ahmad. So it looks like
he had the same exact moment that we saw earlier from Josh Lowe.
Yeah.
Or not Josh Lowe. That was Javier Mascara, I believe.
Well, one of the other drivers. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, regardless. And Ahmad gets it going, but he unfortunately, I think it looks like he wasn't able to drive it back around. Oh, and Michael Taylor also off to the side of the circuit. Yeah, boy, it's been a bloodbath today.
This was off the nose of Dylan Freckleton. This is what happens when you get a bunch of drivers on a new track here. And I mean, I know we've raced this before, but it doesn't seem like anyone's figured out how to do this multi-class thing yet.
So it looks like we're going to get a replay of the number 29. This is Buscemi. Let's listen in to see what happens as he pulls off, trying to defend. Oh, back to the racing line late. You mentioned that earlier, just about cutting him off. And then down through. And, yep. Ugh.
It happens. It's pretty easy to happen with the Audi gearbox. You downshift a little bit too early, and the Audi's very sensitive to downshifting early, and you can blow it very easily. We're seeing the battle now between Dustin Roeder and Seamus Power. They're right behind Aaron Humphreys. This is all for 9th position in the GTPs.
Feels like we've seen a lot of Seamus Power today. He's actually up 3. I thought he had lost a few more, but looks like instead he's been on the upswing. And we're almost halfway through this race. So much has been going on, though we haven't realized how much time has gone by. In front of him, very close to the back of Dustin Roeder and Aaron Humphrey. He could have a good chance here for 10th.
He clipped the inside curbing just a little bit. That upset the car, got the under tray effect upset, so unfortunately that broke up the best option for a run, but he's still got a good run right now on Dustin Roeder. Seems to be running a little bit more wing than Seamus Power. Seamus is going to poke out into the dirty air, still have a little bit of overspeed. What is Dustin going to do around here? He's going to back off and fall in behind Seamus.
Yep, Seamus is going to take that racing line away. But we've now seen a couple times, it looks like the car gets mighty loose coming off the exit of this final turn up the hill. So there's no guarantees there. Romain Bello, in the meantime, is sandwiched between the likes of Del Olmo and Chamarro. And this is
we need to go to the lead of the GTPs. Tuomas Mustonen just got boxed in by Joram Van Hixie and trying to get past Michael J. Taylor in a slower GTP. Andres Valenteus has got to find a way by as well.
Indeed, yeah, that's that battle for the lead has erupted once again. They've run away from the rest of the field, but it seems like they can't get away from one another. Still watching Dustin Roeder here in this fight for 10th position, and just sliding in front of Suarez in the GTO. He'll be able to sneak by, but so will Dustin, and then cutting back underneath of Marcos Bayon. It looks like he'll be able to run away for now, but Humphrey gets slowed up coming through Marc Marquez.
Absolutely, all this traffic causing chaos for these GTP runners, all battling for the 9th position. They're now on to the back straightaway and have a good opportunity at making a pass. We go up to 2nd position now. This is Andres Valenteus, as we mentioned, tucked in behind Mustonen as they go through this traffic, and this is actually holding up Mustonen. We right on board with Valenteus.
See all the cars that they practically have to slalom their way past here. Fighting
here we
for
go.
This top spot round the outside actually proves to be the better call, although a bit of a dangerous one from Mustonen.
Yeah, that could have been a defining moment right there if Friesen decided to go all the way out there and Mustonen had to dive it off track. But Friesen deciding to pull to the inside and let Musen get a little bit of room on the outside, but they're going to catch up to these Audis here. This is the battle for third position between Lundberg, Cloud, and Schuster, and this is going to hold up Musen a lot. If Valenteus can get a good exit here, they're going to have a really good opportunity. Musen's going to go to the inside there, but he's going to get held up, and here we go once again. Valenteus trying to do the same thing, but Musen's very much held up. He's very slow. This is about an opportunity to change the lead if Valenteus can get the run.
We've seen this once before. Adrius could not complete the pass. This time, he's got a little bit of the slipstream to help him alongside. Will that be enough as they fly their way down at 190 miles an hour into the braking of the final turn? Round the outside, we've seen Seamus Power do it, but Valenteus doesn't quite have the same stick.
Oh, both of them on the absolute edge of grip around that corner. That was an impressive battle between Musen and Valenteus, but now they catch up to our leaders. This is Leskala and Sliumba as they're trying to snake their way through and continue their battle. Sliumba's not going to want to give up any time. Neither is Leskala, but fortunately it looks like Musen's able to get to the inside quickly, but Valenteus gets held up.
And Thomas really needs these points. He wants maximum score here today as we cut back to Seamus Power, who side by side with Aaron Humphrey down in the first corner, both of them taking a shallow entry, trying to squeeze down to that apex. Seamus is going to be able to get ahead.
Yeah, but is Humphrey going to try and take the inside? No, he's not. He thinks better of it. We come up to Cam Porter, who's on his own drive right now. Look at this. Cam has the apex stolen by Seamus Power, who snakes his way through and puts a bottle between himself, Humphrey, Heroder, and Lim.
I was saying before about how important it is for Thomas here. Just ahead of these guys is Jungbluth, our points leader, and he's sitting in 6th. That's a 10-point difference between where Thomas is and where Jungbluth is, and considering they are, looks like just over, I think about 15 points apart, that could be critical here late in the season. Dustin coming down the backstretch now, still trying to keep up with Aaron Humphrey as they get a bunch of speed down the hill. They're starting to lose touch with Power.
Absolutely. So they're starting to lose touch with Power. We see here with Farron Grau, he was trying to battle with Timothy Reed, but unfortunately going around the outside of Jukka Leskala, he just lost the grip in the gray on the outside of the final turn. As they come into turn 1, though, look at this. They've got Michael J. Taylor up ahead. This could be a pick opportunity for Farron Grau if Taylor ends up holding up Timothy Reed, who he's battling with.
They switch back and forth across the track, trying to set themselves up in and amongst this traffic. They go by Michael Taylor, but it looks like Timothy Reed going to get the better run. Meanwhile, Jukka Leskala versus Sliumba, separated currently by Laus Stolson, who still holds on to 5th, only down 1 from where he began. Has to let all these fighting GTPs is nearly run into the back of him. That was Jungbluth locking up the brakes.
Oh man, this is insanity. The amount of sharp corners. Oh, look at this. Jukka Leskala offline. So this gives an opportunity for Sliumba to get back into the draft of Leskala. Leskala strong on the power though. Good move from him, but both of them very cautious coming onto the back straightaway. Sliumba giving up a little bit of track to Leskala on the exit.
Sounds like we got a replay spooled up here, so let's take a quick glance at that. And this is Pol Ferrer, a little bit of a fight with the 44. The 44 gets loose, and both of them suffer the consequences.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be contact, but we need to go back to the lead of the GTOs. Sliumba did not want to make the pass on Jukka Leskala. Nobody wants to pass Jukka Leskala, and I'm curious as to what the strategy is here. I've never known Leskala to lose a race from the lead. So, that seems like a ridiculous stat, right? But at the same time, the best opportunity you have at holding off Leskala is when you can hold him off versus trying to pass him on the last lap, because Leskala is known for increasing his speed over the course of a race.
I'm wondering if that, again, if Adrius just thinks that is his best opportunity, because surely Jukka would just do the same right back at him and just wait for the last lap pass to get by.
Sure, but then you have the best opportunity because you're the one to pick the line. This isn't Daytona. This is, this is a different track, a different day. We have multi-class racing going on as well, as we see Brendan Lim going quite wide in front. But we're riding on board with Jukka Leskala, looking very calm and collected right now at Aragon.
A little bit of a blink there from Sliumba, I think, for a second. Let's hope that he doesn't do that towards the end. If they have to race hard, close against one another, the Finn, who has dominated this GTO championship, is looking to collect another, but this is one of the fewest wins we've seen out of him, usually because we do get Valenteus sharing the track in the same class this season.
Absolutely. So we're going to see, once again, most likely, Sliumba has a good run on Leskala, and this time he's going to go for the move. So let's see whether or not I'm wrong here. He's going to get the move done fairly early on in the straightaway, and he's going to lead this next lap. Let's see whether this works out for him.
And to drive the point home on those stats for Leskala, we're in race 9. He has only won 2 races this season, and the last time he's taken victory was round 4. So it's been a minute. I'm sure he's eager to try and make this one happen, but as they get interrupted very briefly by Del Olmo, thankfully, Sliumba saw him coming.
A reminder that Del Olmo did win the GTO Championship 2 seasons ago, so you can see how far back he stayed. He didn't send it super deep and get really close to Sliumba. I think he knows that he took that apex away from Sliumba, but yeah, Sliumba's struggling a little bit through this first sector. But the issue is not with the first sector. The issue is whether or not you can get a gap on the driver going into onto the front straightaway. Romain Bello, trying to take an opportunistic move on Sliumba, is going to dive to the inside, but look at this. The battle for the lead of the GTP is still close, only half a second.
Down the backstretch, Audrius got to within 2/10 as well, so he's been keeping Thomas quite honest here. Is the somewhat unnerving paint scheme, probably not as disquieting as just having this incredible driver with over 9,000 I rating breathing down your neck.
Absolutely. Mustinen and Valenteus are 2 of the most decorated drivers in multiple series across iRacing, but Valenteus with 9K I rating to Mustinen's still extremely impressive 4.7.
Yeah, this is a series that has quite a bit of talent in it, as Thomas with over 4,000 is still rated 5th out there. Arturas Kundalis in a bit of a battle with looks like Cammy's Garage once again, as well as is that Doug Cloud? No, he's putting a lap on Cam and is still in a fight. No, excuse me, that is Joram van Hikse,
yes.
Very similarly painted to Doug.
Yeah, absolutely. Joram van Hikse is going to be the driver that he's duking it out with, and Kundalis started off the day, 90 degrees to the rest of the track, so on a recovery drive himself and back up into the top 10. So good drive from him so far.
And that was for position with Cam Porter, so he lifted and let them go, it appears. Meanwhile, back to Farron Grau versus Timothy Reed to try and decide the last step on the podium, and we still got 13 minutes left, so there is action to be had out here between these two. They've fallen off of the top 2 by 11 seconds.
Absolutely. That's just the pace that Mustinen and Valenteus have put in. But Timothy Reed, he just has not been able to navigate the traffic very as effectively as he would like. Oh my goodness, that is going to be a spin in front of him. And that is, unfortunately, Ian Phillip Johnson, who self-spins and collects Timothy Reed's front left. Looks like Timothy Reed not carrying too much damage, but he's lost the position to Farron Grau.
That has got to be frustrating. It's certainly been a wild one when dealing with the traffic out here today, more than I expected, I think. But Brennan Lim down here in 12th spot is trying to catch up to Aaron Barta, who is in a side-by-side battle. No, he's actually trying to put a lap on Josh Lowe.
Absolutely. So this is just, oh my goodness, that's close stuff in front of the boat. We see once again close stuff with our leaders in the GTOs. Andreas Sliumba had to give away the apex of the final corner to Dylan Freckleton, who dove down the inside. So that brought this battle much closer together. It was up to 1 second on the back straightaway. So Sliumba being in the lead doesn't seem to be hurting him that much just yet, but if he can't get a little bit of a gap on Leskala going into onto the back straight, and he goes wide on this corner, so Leskala had a really good opportunity to try and make a pass on the straightaway if he could stay within.
And we've seen, Adam, that there are some drivers who are better chasers and who are better being chased. I'm starting to wonder if Andreas is is better at being the chaser.
Well, so as good as Leskala is as a leader, he's actually a better chaser as well. Leskala is at his strongest when he's chasing. That's because he spent about 3-4 seasons chasing Phil Lake back in the days when Glacier Racing was battling it out with Dirty Torque Racing. So it's no surprise to see Leskala at his best chasing down Sliumba, but we have two chasers duking it out for the win of the GTOs as Leskala trying to get the pass done on Sliumba. But unlike the GTPs, with the GTOs, the outside line can sometimes be more advantageous around this corner. Not this time around though. Sliumba a little bit struggling on the traction. He's going to keep it going though. They're going to go side by side to turn one.
He carries the momentum, and he's got a nose ahead, but he's on the outside as they approach the first corner. Coming down into the braking, he gives only enough room for Leskala, and Leskala says, that's all I need. He takes the lead.
As they duke this out, Noah Lundberg still 4 seconds behind, kind of on land on his own, kind of an island by himself. Another 4.5 seconds to Doug Cloud behind him in 4th position. Noah Lundberg's hoping that they're going to keep up this side-by-side battling, and it'll draw him in. Here we go with our leaders in the GTPs coming through. This is Mustinen. Next up will be Valenteus.
I thought he was going to get checked up quite a bit there, but it looks like he timed it right. So Valenteus won't be able to catch up. In fact, he might have a tough time because I think he's going to be sandwiched between them down through Sacha Korchos.
Yeah, the Audis are actually pretty quick through this sector, especially on the exit of this corner. The four-wheel drive allowing them to get some good traction, but what this is going to affect is Yuka Leskala. He has to back off a little bit, and he early apexes the corner, gives a good slingshot onto the back straightaway, and he makes the most of it. Leskala, a master of navigating multi-class.
And Valenteus watching Mustinen and run away a little bit now. Perhaps the biggest gap we've seen him have the whole race at almost 2 seconds between the pair of them. But you're right, it's staying tight enough with Leskala and Sliumba that I think this one's going to come down at the very end of it as we check back in on them swinging once again into the final turn.
Under 10 minutes to go, and Leskala a little bit wide through the first part of this final turn. I mean, realistically, it's actually 2 turns. It's very NASCAR feeling, but you should separate it out as 2 turns in your head because the radius does change a little bit on that second half of that turn. And so if you don't adjust to it properly, you'll find yourself flung out into the AstroTurf on the exit. We've seen that cause some problems for other drivers in the course of this race.
Absolutely. If we want to talk ovals, it definitely reminds me of the old Nazareth with that little bit of a junt that it had kind of off to the side on one of the final turns. Meanwhile, Dylan Freckleton is just behind Cockram in the number 36. So this is a battle for 17th place in the GTPs.
Yeah, Freckleton's been on our screens a couple times today, just trying to battle it out with other drivers, but unfortunately just been caught out by traffic, caught out by just misfortune over the course of this race. He's got to try and make his own fortune right now. Martin Kraytrick, on the other hand, actually has finally caught himself up to a battle. This is with Michael J. Taylor, who's been in the back of the pack for a while. Kraytrick, who's had trouble all day, miring himself in the back of the Audi pack, and now he's trying to get himself up to the 22nd position.
Still on the lead lap, so he hasn't, he has gone a lap down, pardon me. So unfortunately not able to stay on the lead lap, and he's going to split on either side of Kundalis as that doesn't work out well for him because Barta is able to sneak through, although Barta is lapping him, so that wasn't it for position. Meanwhile, back to our points leader, Fabian Jungbluth. He is chasing on Laust Olsen. Fabian up 2 from the beginning of this race, trying to make good when there are a lot of fast drivers showing up today.
Yeah, this is a battle I'm very interested in. Laust Olsen, very quick on single race pace and has had a couple of opportunities to challenge for championships. And Fabian Jungbluth, who knows that his championship is best served if he finishes, period, in the top 10. He's not going to try and take too many risks around Laust Olsen, and Laust Olsen is going to want to keep this top 5.
Slides a little bit coming off of turn 4 there, loses some time up to Laust as he just slides his way, scythes across the apexes, catching up to a couple lapped cars, including our leaders in the GTOs. This will back them up, and now Fabian Jungbluth regains that time once again. Meanwhile, checking in on Skovgaard down in the GTOs. He's in a battle with Adria on the number 41.
Absolutely. Tight battles all over the track right now. Multiple drivers having different battles, but look at this. Skosgard going up the inside here. Gonna try and make a pass on the inside of the 41 of Adria Huguet, and it's gonna be a real hard battle for both of them. They're still side by side, but it looks like the 47 of Skosgard is gonna hold on to that. Oh, Del Olmo's around.
Oh, he is. Oh, man, and he is going to fall down many positions, unfortunately. We'll check on that in a bit, but we've got Laust Olsen still trying to stick with Fabian Jungbluth here, who is now up a position and into 5th. So he's got now 3 gained. Olsen down 2. Not as quick as his qualifying seemed to be. Let's see what happened to Del Olmo. Oh, again.
Yeah.
How many cars now have we seen in the GTP field just lose the rear like that?
Yeah, the story for me is Javier Del Olmo was last year's GTP victor. He was the first driver to take the GTO championship and then the GTP championship in back-to-back seasons. And this has just been a heartbreaking season for him. This is the battle for 3rd position in the GTPs between Farron Grau and Timothy Reed. Timothy trying to regain that 3rd position from Farron.
Yeah, not just that he did it back-to-back, but the first driver ever to take both championships here for the broadcast races on the IMSA Vintage Series, but is not able to reproduce it this time around, it seems. Timothy Reed versus Grau. Oh, is going to have to go around the outside of a couple battling GTOs. Oh no, another one getting loose. He saves it. Timothy Reed with a huge scare coming off the final turn.
Oh my goodness, we've seen so many drivers have that same mistake on the final turn, but Timothy's the first driver who was able to save it. What a move from him to hang on to that.
Things are looking really tricky out there, is down to the inside. Friesen attacks on Schuster and Doug Cloud. They're thinking about 3 wide, and he lifts big time. He does not trust this, even though it's only 4 minutes left. Round the outside, Schuster gonna try and finish the job, but it looks like Doug Cloud comes back at him and pulls ahead on the exit.
Oh, I really wanted him to try it, but unfortunately Friesen gets bottled in because of the battle between Van de Sant and Romain Bello as they go by. Schuster's going to be able to close back in on Doug Cloud, who had to break early to let that GTP battle go. Oh man, such a hard fight. But Doug Cloud, we know how good of a defender he is. He's been showing it all season. Can he hold off these 2 drivers and maintain 4th?
Doug Cloud working that H-pattern shifter hard here as he goes up and down through the gears at this circuit. It sees a long time that he can at least put the foot down and not have to worry about slamming through that little H pattern. But as they head towards the chicane, Schuster's still close behind Doug. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. We check in the meantime with Sintez Galindo. Laust Olsen is dropping backwards.
Laust Olsen struggling with grip late stage. Sintez Galindo hangs it around the outside, keeping it out there. Laust Olsen trying to hold on to this. Timothy Reed in the pits, interestingly, so we'll take a look at what happened there. But Sintez Galindo able to get by Laust Olsen through turn 1.
And I didn't see any black flag. It looks like maybe some repairs for Timothy Reed. That or he miscalculated fuel.
Miscalculating. Oh no! Laust Olsen and Aitor Sintez Galindo collect each other. Allows Aitor Sintez Galindo just applied the power too late after he went wide through the turn and gets into the side of Laust Olsen. Both of them are out of that fight for 4th.
Oh, 2 veterans of the series, too. And Sintez Galindo parks it. So does Laust Olsen. I wonder if they got meatball flags from that contact.
Now we got a battle between Mickey Friesen and Andreas Schuster as they try and battle it out with Doug Cloud. We're down to 2 minutes, 10 seconds to go. So it's going to be, I believe it's going to be about 2 laps left for most of these drivers.
Yep, that should be correct. Not much left for them. In fact, he is going to lap these guys. So they're going to also have 2 laps left out here as the 25 can now see him approaching in the mirror as they're also dealing with the lapped GTPs that are fighting their own fight, and they're almost up to the back. No. Can he hold on to it? Mustonen nearly throws it away, but he keeps it from spinning.
Oh my goodness, Mustonen almost lost it on the power there, but is able to hang on to it. This is losing a lot of time to Valentinius, who was about 2 seconds behind. This is going to bring it into 1 second, but Mustonen exits that corner. Here comes Valenteus. He's going to have to navigate his way through the GTO traffic. He streaks to the inside of Doug Cloud. Mustonen is coming down the backstretch, coming down to 1 to go.
But he's still got 2 seconds. Valenteus looks like he had to check up a bit coming through Marc Marquez, as this battle will not quit. It is Doug Cloud leading Schuster, leading Friesen. Once again, will we see the 3 wide? Is this the time to do it? No, Friesen will stay behind. This time breaking deep round the outside. Andreas Schuster's not taking no for an answer, and he will take 4th place.
Mustonen's on 1 to go at this point. 1.8 seconds to Valenteus, but look at this. Schuster, a bad exit out of the corner allows Doug Cloud to take a look to the inside. Is he going to try and late break into 1? It is the final lap. It's the white flag. Here comes Doug. He's going to send it.
Oh, smoking the brakes. They both go a little bit wide. Friesen says, thank you very much. I'll pick up at least 1. Can't get both of them, though. Doug Cloud will stay ahead, but I don't think Andreas appreciated that move, almost forcing him off the track.
Yeah, but you got to do what you got to do to hang on to that position. He's going to have to do it one more time down the back stretch. But here we are with Thomas Mustonen. He's coming down into the final parts of the first sector, down the hill to take on to the front straightaway. He's got a commanding lead of 2.2 seconds over Valenteus. Can't afford any issues to happen. In fact, I think he's going to go by our leaders in the GTOs. This is going to finish their race too. So Sliuba's got this final straightaway. I don't think he's going to have a chance.
It's just a little bit too far back there as we watch from Thomas. Yeah, you're right. He's just going to be going past them now. At least one of them. If he gets one and not the other, then that would absolutely end it. It looks like he's going to get them both, but just barely as they come around the final corner. Thomas Mustonen adds to his tally and will win here at Aragon. Is behind. Jukka Leskala will hold on despite the slipstream to take his 3rd win of the season.
And the chaos behind for 5th and 6th position still going on. Doug Cloud sends it so deep. He's all the way gone. And Andreas Schuster tries to cut back on Mickey Friesen. Friesen has to hit the brakes. It's going to be a race to the line, but Schuster does not get a good exit. It's going to be Friesen who holds it.
I was glad we had that webcam to see the raucous celebrations of Jukka Leskala there. But Mickey Friesen settles for 4th, Schuster 5th. Cloud lost both spots in the end, but they had a great fight out there. Seamus Power is going to get himself a top 5, up 9. Man, this was a great race for the 20.
Yeah, a great race for Seamus. Fabian Jungluth ended up coming home in 4th position as well, so a good points race, reducing the damage done by Mustonen winning out there. Here we see Fabian Jarakowski just coming around the final corner to finish in the 18th position, I believe. We'll have to go to the replay of the results to see that, but man, what a race today. Chaotic, to say the least.
Power sliding through the corners. Jukka Leskala knows he's taken another win and will help himself in the championship. We got a little bit more left here, so stick around. After this, we will have our unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Welcome back to Motorland Aragon, where we just saw round 9 of the IMSA Vintage series, and Tuomas Mustonen withstood the pressure of a dominant driver to take a victory today, and that will be critical in the championship hunt. Andreas Valenteus, who is not in the fight for the championship here in the GTPs, finished second, with Farron Grau getting himself a P3 after quite the fight with Timothy Reed. Fabian Jungbluth promoted up to 4th in the end, so he minimized some of that damage, but Mustonen still has cut down on that lead. Seamus Power finished in the top 5 after starting 14th. Aaron Humphrey was 6th today, as Dustin Heroder was 7th and Brennan Lim was 8th. Timothy Reed finished P9, followed by Aaron Barta, rounding out your top 10. Alex Van Asant started from 3rd, didn't have that great of a race as he wound up 11th. And then Romain Bello was 12th, and Victor Chamorro was 13th. Last one on the lead lap. Dylan Freckleton, a lap down, was 14th. Cockerham was 15th, and Del Olmo wound up 16th in the end. A messy day, unfortunately, for the number 8, Paul Ferrer. P17 was then followed by Alex Marty in 18th, and Fabian Jarachewski in 19th. 20th goes to Javier Mosquera. Michael Taylor brought it home 21st, lacked pace, but he kept it on the track. Martin Krajcik, 2 laps down, was 22nd. Lance Simon, 23rd, and Laust Olsen, I think may have been a DNF there at the end, 24th. Sintez Galindo with him. And then everybody behind them definitely was a DNF here in your GTP standings. A smaller but just as fierce GTO field here today, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Jukka Leskala from pole to victory, but he had 2 challengers in Andreas Sliumba and Noah Lundberg. Lundberg falling off by nearly 11 seconds towards the end, but Sliumba staying with him throughout the entire race, able to gain that gap up to the top 2, past Lundberg to duke it out with Leskala. Good finish in second for him. Mickey Friesen able to hold on to 4th position just over Andreas Schuster, as Arturas Kundelis finishes in 6th position and Josh Brain in 7th. Cam Porter down in, Jarn Van Hixie in 8th position, just ahead of Cam Porter down in 9th, and Thorben Pollock rounding out your top 10. A top 10 for Thorben. Great race for him today. Our biggest mover in the GTOs is Ian Haycock, starting second to last and finishing in 8th position today. Doug Cloud, I believe, must have fallen afoul of the incident limit if he's coming home in 12th position, because he was battling for 4th earlier on, just as we were coming to the line. Andre Lowry down in 13th spot, with Sam Skovsgaard finishing behind him in 14th, Marcus Bayon in 15th position, and then Audrey Huguet going to be the last driver on the lead lap for the Audis. Hector Cordero Suarez is going to finish in 17th position, and then the drivers who did not finish, Gregorio Buscemi, Jamie Hamer-Smith, and JD Rodriguez.
It looks like we have our second place finisher in the GTOs, Andreas Sliumba, ready to talk to us. Maybe we can solve the mystery here, Andreas. Congratulations on a second place, but Adam was a bit confused as to why you were sitting around waiting for much of the race to make the pass. Did you feel like it wasn't worth trying to overtake with the power of the slipstream?
Yeah, so if you guys can hear me all right, basically kind of stuck around behind him because I felt like I wanted to sort of have a little bit more of a safe gap to the other guys behind us in case we start, fighting, let's say, and losing time. Didn't really want to make that into a 3-way or 4-way. So yeah, kind of bided my time there behind him, and eventually figured, okay, got a good run on him. I guess I'll pass him, see if I can actually manage to sneak away from him, but as we can see, that actually didn't really even happen. So exciting drive, very, very tired, very sweaty, definitely gonna need a shower after this one, and wow, just, yeah, basically one of the ones to remember for me, at least.
I would say so. I mean, it's hard to go up against Leskala and stick that close to him. Also, for our sake, because I always second guess myself, how do we pronounce your last name?
Actually, I saw the broadcast before. It's good enough. Actually, I'll accept it.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll take that then. Will we see more of you? Because this is only your second time showing up this season, from what I can see in the GTOs, and clearly you've got the pace.
I have the pace occasionally, let's say. I don't know, maybe I read my horoscope, something like that. Stars aligned. Also, shout out to my to my Audi comrade Arturas Gundelis, because just before hopping into practice for this race today, he mentioned something around from the good book of going very fast in a straight line down the Mulzan Straight, which was basically to pump more air into those tires and reduce rolling resistance, and that definitely helped me heaps, actually, both in the track to sort of keep the tire temperatures down and be able for me to sort of not lose the draft from Leskala, and then be able to sort of overtake when I pleased, when the let's say opportunity presented itself.
Interesting. So a little bit of a tidbit there. Well, thank you for coming and chatting with us, and congratulations on the podium.
Thanks again, guys. It was amazing.
As Andreas Sliumba finishing P2 in the GTOs, it looks like I think sounds like Cam Porter is going to be with Adam up next.
Yeah, absolutely. Cam Porter finishing in 9th position in the GTOs today. Cam, a top 10 finish for you today in the GTOs. Nice to have you back in the broadcast once again after being in the bottom split for a couple of different races. But how was it out here with so many cars on track?
Oh, it was hectic. I am very happy to be in the top 10 today, especially considering that I had a couple of miscommunications with some GTP drivers out there. It wasn't a safe race for me today, but I was able to just keep it on the track. I don't know if I had damage or anything, but I seem to still have okay pace until close to the end. And I'm normally easy on tires, but today it seems like I was really hard on my front tires today. Maybe it's just the nature of the track or the conditions. Struggling near the end. I was hoping to hang with Adrius and Joram when they came by me, but then I gave myself a slowdown, so I kind of lost the draft right away. I knew they were going to pass me, so I was just going to try to hang with them in the draft. But oh well, it didn't happen. But still had a result today.
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't seem like it was a safe race out there for many drivers. That first sector just is so chaotic. Lots of changing of the line back and forth. And it seems like it took about 3/4 of the race for the GTPs to figure out where it was safe to pass. How much dodging did you do today? And do you have any feedback on where a better place to sneak by might be for the GTPs?
That's a great question, actually. I wanted to say it's probably a bad idea for the GTPs to pass on the outside of corner exit. I've said it a lot in the Discord. But I understand they're trying to, hold their speed through the high-speed corners. This track exacerbates the speed difference between the two classes. So I had a miscommunication with Ferran where I exited a corner. He was right behind me. I think he expected me to go to the right side of the track, and he just kind of gave me a little bump. But he wasn't affected, and he finished on the podium. So good job, Ferran. The main thing is to be patient. You have to be a little bit more patient with GTOs if you're driving the Nissan. So regardless, it was a thrilling race. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, it very much was. And we're closing in on the last quarter of the season now. Cam, what's your thoughts on finishing out the season? Where do you want to be? And is there any hopes that you have as we come into the final stretch?
I just hope to continue to improve and have fun races with other drivers that are close to the same skill as me. Just continue to work on my consistency. You guys know that I tend to take myself out of races quite a bit by spinning. Not so much in the Audi, but in the Lotus series. But I miss too many races usually in a season to go for a championship or anything like that in any of those series that I do. So just really enjoyed driving this car, and the community is awesome. They are always helpful with setups and sharing their sets and everything. So thanks to the community, and thanks to you guys for putting on a great broadcast every week.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Cam, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Next week.
That was Cam Porter, who finished 9th in the GTOs. Finishing in 12th in the GTOs is Doug Cloud, and Joe's got some question for him.
Yep. So we saw Doug cross in what looked like 6th place or so, and somehow he's farther down. Doug, I went back and looked, and I guess there's a lesson to be learned about trying to go very wide on the last lap here at Aragon.
Yes. It didn't occur to me until I was probably, 20, 30, 50 feet from the finish line that you got to burn it up before then. And so I crossed it and realized, oh man, that's it. Go from 4th to 6th to 12th. Yeah. That was not a good finish, but I tried to sort of hold it against Andreas and Mickey, and just lost track of that break point. Was trying to hold it inside. Andreas had the inside, so it was going to be a tougher corner anyway, going 3 wide. And I blew it. And thank goodness Mickey probably saw me shoot ahead of him and went completely around outside the bounds and just got that slow down. And so, yep, that you pay for it there. I do have to apologize to JD. I think in that same last corner, I squeezed him a little bit. I thought I had given him enough room, but I think he ended up going over that stone right in that corner. And next thing I know, I look back and the front end of his car is all mushed up. That stone is just terrible. I hate those things.
And you had an interesting moment there coming onto the last lap there, going side by side into turn 1 with Andreas Schuster too. I mean, we can almost put aside that final moment there because yes, it's embarrassing, but you put on an incredible display of battling with those other 2 drivers all race long.
Well, it doesn't feel like incredible display. It's panic. It seems like more panic for me. Just trying to stay out of, contact. I didn't have any 4X contacts. It was all just off tracks. I think I ended up with 9 incidents from just off tracks, avoiding people, avoiding GTPs. It was fun, sweaty fun, like Andrea said. But yeah, it's a track you can battle with as far as defending. It's just so slippery that if you miss it just by a bit, and I said this last time we were here, if you miss your break point by just a meter or 2, you're going to go too wide and you'll lose the exit, and that's all she wrote. It's just much more slippery of a Grand Prix track than, to me, it seems, most of the others.
Well, for what it's worth, it didn't look as frantic and looked very skilled from the outside. So take credit where you can. And again, thank you for giving us a lot of entertainment today. It was fun to watch.
Thank you. Bye.
That was Doug Cloud, who finished 12th in the end and is going to wrap up our interview. So a big thank you goes out to the IMSA Vintage community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And also thanks to the team today, Adam, Daniel, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. Next time out, it's going to be another fast track, but maybe a bit of a different nature at Silverstone, the old version on the historic layout. That'll be Saturday, February 17th at noon Eastern. Be sure to check out our other broadcasts that we have listed here. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.
Thank you.